Alright guys, what's up? Casual K Kyle. Today we got the Arctic SUB-OHM tank to look at. Alright, so the Arctic SUB-OHM tank. What is this guy? This guy is supposed to be like the best one, right? It was the first one to come out with a 0.2 ohm coil, and now, of course China's going to jump on that bandwagon and make everything a 0.2 or 0.3 ohm coil and just jump on that bandwagon. Everything is getting jumped on each other because it's all China, and we're going through the high wattage box mod thing again. Except we're doing it with tanks now. So you're supposed to apparently in China's eyes, we're supposed to get a freaking 300 watt box mod and then run it at 50 watts for our SUB-OHM tanks, and we're supposed to buy every single one of them and find out which one's the best, because no one knows, because they all taste the freaking same, and you still got oh my god. I'm over it. The SUB-OHM tanks are cool, alright? If you want a lazy vape and still get some pretty good clouds, use it in your car like a tank. These things are freaking awesome, dude. You don't need to rebuild, you just, the coil's going bad, toss out the coil, put in a new one. Although the coil costs about $5 each, each one. They range from like $3.50 to like $6 a coil. It's just like, dude, too much. Too expensive for some people. And to be able to spend $5 on a coil that you're going to have to change up every 3 to 5 days. Like, I would love to say it's $1 a day, but sometimes it's about like $2 a day. Because what happens when you get a dead battery is I don't know why. The device just stopped working for some reason. What happens, I'm going to switch it now. When you get, I don't even know what I was freaking talking about. I don't know. Oh yeah, when you get a dud coil, that's what I was going to talk about. What happens when you get a dud coil and you spent $5 on it, right? That kind of blows fucking, it just sucks, right? I completely agree with that. That's the worst thing in the world, and it's happened to me where it's just sucks, because I've gotten a dud coil. It doesn't even matter. I'm not even saying that for the Arctic. I'm saying that for pretty much any SUB-OHM tank, and I think I've gotten 1 out of maybe the 7 coils I've gone through on this guy. Let me grab my screwdriver. So, as far as I've gone on it right now, there haven't really been any dud coils on the Arctic. I had one that only lasted like 3 days, and the rest lasted about 5 to 6 days. Yeah. This one's on like day 3, and it's still kind of going strong. There's one thing I do want to say about this guy before we go up close with everything. There was a weird taste when you first start using it. When you put in a fresh coil, you can prime it up as much as you want, but and it's been happening with more than just this one. It's been happening with some other SUB-OHM tanks too, where you just fire it up for the first tank, really. It kind of just tastes weird. It just tastes weird, like not good. And the theory that me and like some other guys have come up with for that reason has been that they don't dry fire the coils. When you're working on, like, I'm so used to rebuildable coils where I dry fire the coil and that kind of cleans off all the Canthal gunk, that factory gunk that might be on there, all the dust or whatever extra, whatever stuff that could be on the Canthal kind of gets burned off when you dry fire it and make sure it's even. And then you put the cotton through and saturate it and all that. There's like a lot more steps to rebuilding than with these. They just wrap the coil on the machine and they put the cotton, they put the cotton around it, and then they put it in the coil and they just fucking send it off to you. They just give it off. There's been no testing if the coil even works, honestly. They've been testing the resistance on them sometimes with some factories, but that's it. They don't dry fire them because they're going to stuff them with cotton. They don't even care. So I feel like it's whatever crap is on the Canthal from that factory is the flavor you're getting. And that takes a minute to get off because you're not going to dry fire it. Like you're not going to get it as hot as you would a rebuildable. So it takes about a tank with this and some other sub tanks out there just to get that flavor to go away. And once it does, oh, it's awesome. It's so good. But and with this one especially, it gives you like this weird freaking just gunky feeling that you're just like, this can't be good for me. This can't be good. Like you get the front inhale and the beginning of the exhale, just like what that juice is supposed to be, and then it just the aftertaste of dirt, like of dust and whatever was in that machine shop, just that flavor. And it hasn't been with like a couple of my coils in the 5-pack. It's been with every single coil ever on the Arctic. And it's been more predominant in the Arctic, that's why I'm saying it in this one, than like the sub tank. It takes a minute to prime, but those actually prime up pretty good. And they work freaking actually pretty good before anything actually goes. So the sub tank really, it takes about 5-10 hits before it starts priming and tasting good. This one takes about a tank, which takes you about an hour or two to get good. So you kind of just suffer through that bit, and it's kind of just the first day of it tasting weird, and then it starts tasting good, and then you wake up the next day and it tastes amazing. And it's going to do that for about 4 days, and then it's going to crap out on you, and you're going to do the whole process over again, while at the same time you're going to be going through a lot of tanks, because this thing goes through juice like you would not believe. It's only got a 3 mil tank in it. I'm ranting pretty good. We're only at 6 minutes. I haven't even looked at this thing, and I'm just ranting on it. So let's do that. Let's go up close, right? Let's do that before, like, you already aren't going to buy it, because I do like this tank. This is my favorite SUB-OHM tank, if that puts anything in your way. I've been using only really the dual coil 0.2 in it, and those have been working fine, so I've just been using those. But let's take this guy up close and get a good look at her, and look at those coils, and just admire it for a minute. Let's do that. Alright, so here we got the Arctic in all of its glory. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. There we go. Got the Arctic here. You can see it says Arctic by HorizonTech right here on it. You have 4 slots, and they're all chilling what from it feels like on an O-ring. And you can just spin it around all the way, and they can close off and open. And there's 4 of them, and that's your only option. There's no 2-hole option or anything. It's just that. And back here, you just got the little pin here with whatever insulator they're using. I don't know how we've stepped back from this. And I also want to say that we got into this whole thing where we got to use peak insulators so they don't melt and everything. And then we go back to just crappy insulators from China, and we're cool with it. We're all fine with it, apparently. Whatever. That's whatever. This thing does come with a normal drip tip. That one is sitting on a shelf. It's kind of fat, and I didn't like that, so I put on a little good old Renegade drip tip that kind of fits your mouth nice, and I've been using that. It has a nice little knurling up here for no reason, just for looks, just to have a little dealio up here. And for down here, it has like 2 slots here and a slot here. And I've noticed if you line these up like so, like you can see that one is lined up on the line, then they're all closed off like super far. And that's kind of cool how it gives you a little slot. I don't know if that was intentional at all whatsoever, but if you do that, it's kind of a nice tighter draw. I don't know. It's still, there's no way you're going to be able to mount along this device, and it's not meant for that at all, because this is a 0.2 ohm coil or a 0.5 ohm coil. You don't mouth to lung that low of resistance. So how this guy works is you got juice right here in a glass tank, and you just unscrew from here, from the bottom, right? This just unscrews, and I'm not turning the airflow, the whole thing's moving out. This guy just pops out like that, and you got your coil right here, and you just fill up your tank that way. And it looks difficult, but it actually isn't that difficult to fill up this tank. It actually works pretty good. Glass bottles are going to be probably the most pain in the ass, but that's it. I think all plastic bottles have been filling this guy up plenty good. And this part does unscrew. It's annoying as fuck. And the first time I had to do it, I had to get pliers on the metal and pliers on the metal here and just crank it, and finally it cracked out, and I thought I just broke the press fit, but it actually was it unscrewing, and you are able to clean it that way. Just be careful, don't break the glass when you do that, or just don't clean it that way. There's 2 options there. And so here you just got the bottom deck with your coil right here, and the coil, if I can get this fucker on camera, Just kind of chills right there. Yeah, and it's just a cotton coil, no screen, and it's got 2 huge slots right here. Let's pull it out. There we go. And you got the coil right here. They're actually not super big. I was expecting, like the other tanks, like a big ass fucking coil. And these are actually, you know, normal sized. But it does have huge juice flow control. Or not control, juice flow inlets thingies. And they do their job pretty good. And it says BTDC. Alright, another thing. Why do we need to be doing all these coded letters? Like, apparently that's how coils are now. Ever since Aspire started doing their BVC coil, every single coil has to have a code now. And it's stupid because it's bottom turbine dual coil. And it doesn't even have a turbine in it, so I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. But it works good. And it says 0.2 ohm, 30 to 100 watts on the side here. Getting it to 100 watts, I mean, we'll do it. I'll do it in the video, but I'm probably going to kill the coil doing it because it really doesn't perform the best there. You have 3 slots right here for your airflow to come in, and yep, and it just screws into the bottom here. And all this is just the pin, like every other thing, and you have the airflow on the side, and it meets up with the airflow right here, and it just works. And it has little knurlings on the top of this coil to help you screw it in, but they're really not indented that good. It's kind of not that great of a thing. All right, so we got that guy on there, and I would fill it up, but I forgot my juice. It's in the other room. But you would fill it up, and then you just screw this guy in. Make sure it's good and tight. And so I do like that the coil is like completely separate from the tank, and when you fill it up this way, it actually only has the small little air bubble. It doesn't have like half the tank full, like some other devices where, I mean, 3/4 of the tank still has air in it, and that's full. This one has just a little air bubble on top, and that's it. So it actually fills up pretty good. It screws onto the device like that, and it fires. So it's super easy. Super easy for people to use. There's no rebuildable section for this guy. If there was, I don't think I would use it, because if you see how small those coil heads are, it would be kind of a pain in the ass to build on anyways. And I like the coils in this. They work pretty good. But getting a coil back from this, I've seen from the brick and mortar around here, around my my location, these the coils for this, a 5-pack of it was like $21.60, like $21 for a 5-pack, and that's gonna last me less than 5 weeks. It's gonna last me around 4 weeks, and that's kind of spendy, especially when I'm gonna be going through a lot of juice in this too. It's kind of deceiving, because you buy the tank for $35, and then you buy the coils for $20, a 5-pack of coils, so you're really spending $50 just to last for a few weeks, and then you're spending another $20 to last for a few weeks, and then you're spending another $20 to last for a few weeks. So I don't know how good of a cheap investment this really is. If you want to go cheap, get a rebuildable, but it's going to be more of a pain in the ass. This is more for lazy vaping right here. Let's get back in the original screen. We'll vape on this a little more, and maybe rant a little more. I'll come up with some more things. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so that was the the Arctic. That was the Arctic up close. Now, there's things I do completely enjoy with this device. I'm making it seem like I don't even like my device, this SUB-OHM tank. There's things I've been saying like, oh, I just totally hate the flavor from the beginning, because I do. I didn't like that. The first time I got it, it got this weird flavor, and I'm like, oh, okay, it'll probably go away, and it did, and I was loving it. But I hate how that's every single coil. You just got to go through that. I mean, really, can we just make it like, can you dry fire your coils, or have a cleaner facility where you're making the coils? Because that's kind of gross. It's kind of gross that you do that. It's kind of gross. I don't enjoy that at all. But as of right now, if you saw me vaping this right now and you tasted it right now in front of me, if you were at a shop or something, and you'd be like, oh man, I need to buy that right now. And then you'd pour some juice in your tank and you'd vape the crap out of it and hate it for a second. And then you'd get over that flavor and it would get good all of a sudden. And you'd be like, there you go, that's what I was looking for. That's what I thought was going to happen the first time I hit this fucker. God. So, how it says on there, let's hit it from 30 to 100 watts. So let's do that. Alright, so we're starting at 30, And I'm not going to go up in 5 watt. I'm going to go up 10 watt increments. So it's going to be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 is what we're going to do. Because that's the range that it says. So let's see if it does it right. Okay, that's 30. That's pretty shit. I don't know why you would ever do that. Which, vaping 30 on like my sub tank would be plenty. So it's kind of crazy that this thing requires so much power. We're at 40, which is pretty much where the Joytech Delta likes to be. It starts to get a lot better at that point. So let's bump her up to 50. 50 watts. And that's where it starts to shine. I like mine at 60, so we'll put it up to the 60. I don't even think you can read that. You gotta just trust me on this. And that's where I've been vaping it. I like it at 60. But for the video, it's 970. We're gonna put it up a little higher. Alright. Okay, it's definitely getting hotter. Whew, yeah. It's getting cloudy in here now. So let's put it up. 7, 8, 9, 80. That's hot. That's not enough airflow for 80 watts. Like, I'll tell you that right now. So I'm going to have to carve it from here on out because it's going to be way too hot for the airflow that it has in this. So I'm just going to vape it off that. So now that I'm proving that I'm going to be going up to 100. 90 watts. Yeah, I guess that's kind of focused. We'll see. I'm only on a small screen on my phone, or on my phone, on my camera, so. Not enjoyable, but not a dry hit. No. And I'm using, believe it or not, like I think it's 75 VG on this one, so it's actually doing it pretty good. So all right, we're maxing this guy out, 100 watts. I think you can see that just went out, 100 watts. Let's do it. Let's see if it dry hits. That's the max that this Sigelei 100 watt can do. So it's just now it's starting to get a little dry. Yeah, it starts if you take a short pull. Then it's fine. But if you're going to take a long, like 2-second pull, 2.5, 3-second pull that I like taking, it starts getting a little dry. Now, I have tested this before. This is not the first time I've taken this up to 100 watts and done craziness with it. As I'm going to be talking about this, I'm going to put it down to 60 again because that's where I like it. And it doesn't. I just went through like a quarter of the tank doing that. I put it on my friend's series unregulated box mod and it didn't dry hit, and that was at like 6 volts at that. So, I mean, it can take some fucking power and work, but it's way too hot, is all I'm going to say about it. So, coil performance is great. Once it gets broken in, just a little review for you guys. Review of what I've said in the past. The coils, once they break in, work great for about 4 days out of the 5 days that you use it. Okay? Alright. The tank holds 3 mils. If that's not enough, sorry, there's no bigger tank option. It holds 3 mils. That's it. The adjustable airflow doesn't have any click into place airflow, but it is adjustable and easy to adjust to. This thing's hot now. It's just, the whole thing is hot. It's super hot. Like the drip tip is hot too, and just everything is just warm. It's like, ooh, why are you running me so hot? Yeah, and you can see it's still trying to catch up on the juice right now. It's just blowing bubbles up everywhere. I'm gonna need to refill this after the video. So yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna go bad tomorrow or the next day because I just know how long these coils last. And yeah, that's it. I like the looks of it. The thing looks cool. It doesn't look super huge on your devices, and it works pretty good. And it's 0.2, which means I can run it at 60 watts, which is usually where I run my drippers at. And I can enjoy life. The flavor. Let's get to the flavor. Because the flavor, everyone says, oh my god, the flavor is so freaking good in this thing. No, because you get that gunkiness on the first day. And when you get past that, it's almost a dripper flavor. But it's not, because it's like a dripper right before you need a drip. You know that last hit that's not a dry hit? That you know you're like, you just hit it and you're like, I should probably drip now? That's, every once in a while you'll get one of those hits where it's kind of dry, but it's not a dry hit where you're just like, dying, but you know it's not fully saturated. If that makes any sense, it's kind of on the drier side. If you've ever used a dripper, if you haven't used a dripper before, I don't know how to explain that to you, but it's a little bit on the drier side. It's not like a fully saturated, like when you freshly drip on your coil, like it's not like that at all. So there you go on that. That's the Arctic tank. Works pretty good. One more thing. It uses all cotton. There's no weird material. I have a coil taken apart right here. You can take my word for it. You can look at other people's videos. It has cotton in it. So little cotton pads on the side and then a little cotton sheet around for the wicking around. And a little 2 coils sitting on top of each other is how it works. So they just work like that and then the leads go down. That's how it works. It's not like some other tanks that do a parallel coil. That's kind of like the dual coil. This one has 2 coils sitting on top of each other like that. That's how it works. Works pretty good. Airflow could be a little bit more if you're wanting people to run it at 100 watts, but I think the airflow is fine for what it is. It gives more airflow than like the Sub-Tank or the Atlantis. That's it. The Arctic works pretty good, but it's got a gunky taste at the beginning. So that's it. Me and this Arctic are going to go enjoy each other for a good minute before this coil runs out. Yeah. See you guys next time.